Follow the Fun is the monthly topic. And I came up with to be or not to be. How did I come up with that? When I was invited to speak, I had just returned from a retreat in North Carolina, and part of our studies was Shakespeare. So we were studying Hamlet. So as soon as I saw that you asked me for a title, I'm sitting there saying, okay, what am I going to come up with? Oh, to be or not to be. We talked about it all weekend. And the reason I think that's profound, because all week I've been downloading things about what to be, what is being. So to be or not to be is simply, am I going to be what God created me to be, or am I going to create a personal identity that appears to be opposite of that, or smaller than that? To be or not to be. So that's how I came up with that particular topic. And follow the fun is very easy, because fun is the realization, first of all, of our oneness with Spirit, with God, and then the application of the principles and laws that allow us to have a vibrant, abundant, prosperous life that is filled with love, filled with joy, filled with intimate relationships, filled with life, filled with God. So, what is being? I looked it up in Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and it says to exist. Wow, how little does that explain who we are in our beingness. So as we look over here, it says there's one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. So omnipotence, the only power, no opposite, the only power, omniscience, all-knowing, all-wise, and omnipresence, everywhere present in its fullness. The divine is everywhere. Right where I am, God is in its fullness, and its circumference, its boundaries are nowhere. As Ernest Holmes would say, the circumference is right here, and the boundary is nowhere. No, the center is right here, and the circumference is nowhere. We know that to be true about our being, not about a God that is out in the sky, or in the past, or even in a book. I'm talking about the living one, the Spirit that is closer than the words that I'm speaking, closer than the thoughts that I think I'm thinking, closer than anything. The presence of God, the omnipotent presence of God, is my very being. Yes. So with that awareness, I can easily step into omniscience, knowing that God is all there is, omniscience, all wise, all knowing, everywhere. I have access to everything that is needed to be known when I need to know it. I don't have to carry around a book trying to remember who I am or what I'm supposed to do, what my purpose is. All I have to do is recognize one thing, my spiritual identity, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. I know I'm speaking about the presence of God, but the presence of God is revealing that triple O through and as my spiritual identity. So as I claim that, when I say I'm speaking about you as well. This is about us, about we. I'm not talking to you. I hope I'm speaking with you about what you already know. And we are quickened together in this remembrance and in this activation, and allow this Spirit to flow through the soul center. I love the name of this place, because that's what we're all about. Accessing our soul qualities and allowing those to flow through us to such a degree that everyone that comes in within our sphere of influence, within our auric field, is lifted and quickened to a greater realization of their own inherent, innate divinity. Once that is done, it's God's business. So to be or not to be, what is the question? Or answer the question. Is that what I said? Answer the question. Answer the question. What does it look like not to be, first of all? What does that look like? It looks like maybe low self-esteem, which I never really understood, because if we really understand the self, there is no low self-esteem. Either we recognize ourselves as the image and likeness of God, and there is our esteem. But if we have to build an esteem by doing certain things to make us feel good about ourselves, that's called behavior modification, and that's only going to last for 5 minutes. What we need to do is acknowledge our real spiritual identity and come from that place all the time with our identity intact. Everything else is easy to give over to the Spirit. Yes?
Yes.
I was thinking earlier when I was driving in today, I was thinking about a significant moment in my life when I decided to be my real self. And it was a long time ago. I was following my brother in junior high and high school, and he had a reputation ahead of him, so I came behind him. Of course, people knew me because, oh, that's Michael's brother. Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, I kept asking my parents, I want to go to another school. No, stay where you are. A trail has been blazed. Follow it. It's true. So, long story shorter, one day I had an experience at school that wasn't to my liking, and I came home with that same attitude of, I need to go to another school. And of course, my mother and father said, boy, no, you're good where you are. And I yelled out, I want my own identity. Do you know, the next day, they had me transferred to another school. So I'm using that to say, once I wanted my real identity, everything shaped itself in my favor. My father and my mother both said, send that boy to another school. He wants to know who he is. So they supported me in that. So what that says to us right now is, when we make a decision about who we are, that dictates what we're going to do. Because as soon as I got to high school, I had my own kingdom, so to speak. I had my own life, my own curriculum, where I could grow into my greater yet to be. So by me seizing my identity, that made all the difference. So with each and every one of us, when we identify with the Spirit of the living God as our true identity, the rest of it is a wash, meaning to be or not to be becomes a silly question. Because once I am what I am, once you are what you are, once you are applying spiritual principle and spiritual law to your entire life, your identity is intact anyway. Our identity is actually hermetically sealed in love and law. We live in a lawful spiritual universe that responds to what we think about ourselves, what we believe about ourselves, and what we create. So I always come back to identity first, and then apply the law. The law is what I say I am is what I experience. In that song, My Soul Surrenders, reminded me of the need and the willingness to surrender our soul to the oversoul, to surrender our little agenda and even our hidden agendas that may be a part of our soul, may not be. Maybe just something somebody planted there. It may be somebody else's dream or vision for us. It may be something we read in a book that sounded good and we took it as a part of us. But when we clear away all of that stuff, that imprinting, that education from the outside, when we clear all that away and we stand in our real identity and speak our word about ourselves, oh my goodness, that's when the fun begins. Like we said, we're following the fun. The fun comes, as I said in the beginning, with unifying with our real identity and applying spiritual principle, which is love, to every area of our life. Now, there are many songs written about following something. A poet would say, follow your heart. A wonderful songstress wrote a song called Follow Your Road. Joseph Campbell was mentioned. He would say, follow your bliss. We're always following something. Why not follow the fun? And the fun is being in alignment with our true selves and God, and then everything becomes fun. Everything, all of our challenges, even so-called problems, which are emblematic of something we haven't resolved on the inside, out pictured in front of us so that we can see it, forgive it, or reveal something else. So the fun is actually breathing can be fun. Have you ever done Kundalini yoga? Mm-hmm. Is it fun? Yeah. What makes it fun? Experience and our alive and our connection and our willingness to be involved. Willingness to be a channel for the divine. Willingness to lean into our own divinity is 99% of our walk. Spirituality, in my estimation, is about releasing more than getting. There's nothing to get because we've already been given everything in creation. When omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent Spirit moved upon itself and created each of us, we were given everything. And then we were told to go forth and multiply our consciousness. And from that multiplication has come our experience. So if we don't like our experience, we can rewind, go back to the beginning, real identity, identify ourselves with and as the Spirit of the living God, and allow that to come through us in a new, wonderful, creative way. Yes?
Yes.
The 3 O's. I want to come back to my topic, to be or not to be. Oh yes, what not to be looks like. It looked like low self-esteem. It looked like I don't know who I am.
Right.
It looks like lack of prosperity and abundance.
Right.
It looks like a whole lot of stuff that doesn't feel good. But I don't say that to judge that, because that is a part of our path. When we came into incarnation, we turned off our memory bank and came in for the world of experience. And in that world of experience, we experienced a whole lot of stuff and did a whole lot of stuff that we might not be too proud of. But luckily, all of that is washed away in what we call forgiveness. So everything that we've experienced in the darkness, so to speak, in our ignorance, so to speak, is washed away through divine love and forgiveness. And once again, we return to our pristine state, as the prodigal son illustrates. Even though we may have had an experience of not being, of not being, to be or not being, that is purposeful, because when we come back to our right mind, we've never left the kingdom. We just pop right back in to what is true about us, and once again, we are at home. Am I making sense?
Yes.
As I listen to myself, I know I make sense inside, but as I'm speaking outside, I want to make sure I'm really clear. So, what I want to emphasize, I should say, is wrapping ourselves around our heart's desires. Close your eyes just for a moment. I would like you to just go to a place in your own experience and think of an experience where the desire of your heart was fulfilled or realized. Now, I don't mean desires of the body or superficial desires. I'm talking about a real desire of the heart, to sire, desire, something that came from the Father, Mother, God and put on your heart, and that desire pulled you forward in your life. The musicians are playing. I'm sure the desires of their heart sometimes are musical, sometimes aren't. Could be something else, because the Spirit of the living God is not bound by the boundaries we set up for ourselves. It comes through all of it. So wrap yourself now around a divine idea of fulfillment, where your heart's desire was fulfilled. Wrap your mind and heart around it. Feel it beyond the senses. Feel it with your soul. Give thanks for the fulfillment of that desire. Just allow gratitude to flood your being. And wrapping yourself in that. Give thanks for that desire fulfilled. That is the stepping stone that we step out upon now as we walk into our new life. Feel it, sense it, thankful for it, quickened by it, and let it be. And now open your eyes. That feeling of fulfillment, that fulfilling of the heartbeat, that feeling of the desire of the heart being fulfilled, I should say, is what our life is about. What the Spirit of the living God wants us to experience each and every day. breath by breath, word by word, experience by experience, starting with our divine identity, whole, complete, perfect beings of radiant light, love, intelligence, and creativity, wrapping ourselves in that. To be that vanquishes not being. In this dimension of polarity, not being is always available, being is always available. How do we answer that question? To be or not to be? I choose being. And what comes with being is everything our heart desires, even what we don't know. As they say, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard what is in store for us in the kingdom within. We get to draw it out by identifying with it, speaking it forth, and allowing it to express uniquely as us. My goodness, to be or not to be? I think we've answered the question. It is already been answered in our creation. Do you answer it now with yes, to be or not to be?
Yes.
I ask you to turn within once again. Standing in the awareness of the all-good, the ever-present, the all-powerful, the unknowable, but that which knows itself through and as our awareness. I give thanks for this awareness. I give thanks for the awareness that I did not create myself, that we did not create ourselves, that we have been created on purpose with a purpose. And that purpose is unfolding even now as I speak this word of prayer. Our purpose is to be all that we can be. All that God is in and as and through us, we are being. And the word I speak for us today is simply an echo of the original word that said, let there be, and we came forth. We came forth as whole and complete radiant beings, and here we are, expressing and revealing all of the gifts and talents that the Spirit has, uniquely as us. So for all things, I give thanks. For this time together, I give thanks. For being, I am thankful. And I speak the word of blessing for us this day as we rest in the awareness of being what God is, being what we are in our soul. We let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. I believe I'm complete.
Since we have a couple minutes,
Yes.
can I ask you a question?
Please.
You touched on, kind of a polarizing environment.
Yes.
And, we have time. So can you help us maybe understand, in our day-to-day lives, how to fully be and be present when
Yes.
we're frightened or angry or, unsure of how to navigate this time?
Well, that's good. Absolutely, Jessica. Thanks for bringing that up. Because last time I spoke here, I spoke about love, praise, and gratitude as the attitudes of being that keep us above the lower frequencies while we walk through them, while we deal with what is happening in our country and the world. Yes, I'm going to come back to love, praise, and gratitude. That when we identify with love, as love, and I don't mean romantic love, I mean dynamic love, the force that binds everything together, standing in that presence. And then with praise, meaning prayer on our lips, but prayer on our heart, as a living, walking prayer, and as gratitude. Gratitude being just a part of our being, which allows us to be thankful for specific things. We might not be thankful for the specific things that may be coming up out of the subjective of our culture right now, to be healed. But we can take a stand. And us in here, we have a responsibility to take a stand for what we say we believe in and what we know to be true. Love, praise, and gratitude covers that, Jessica, with an attitude and an identity and a application of that in our everyday life with everyone we meet and everyone that we see. Seeing God and being God covers it all. That seems simple, but I know can be precarious in life. But I guarantee you that when we're anchored and rooted in principle and in law, both of them, with love, it's a done deal. Does that answer your question?
I mean,
No?
right, I mean, more, right? Just a little bit more.
Okay. Like what?
Do you have an example?
I just like watching certain things that happen in the media, and
For example?
I mean, just the KKK stuff, it feels Charlottesville, it just feels overwhelmingly sad. And I do those practices.
Let me say something about that. I'm over 60 years old, so I was, when I was a child, living in Los Angeles, I was raised in the civil rights movement. So I was picketing and as an 8, 9-year-old child. So none of this that I see right now is new. It's not new. It's painful,
right,
but it's not new. So how I personally deal with it is exactly how I told you. I identify, I'm not going to let the world of effect change what I know about me and what I know about the universe.
Right.
Yes, there's ignorance in the land. All of that stuff has to come up and out. It has to come up and be forgiven. It has to be given forth. So while it's coming up now, I'm looking at it and blessing the people that it's coming out of so that they have a quickening in their soul that they'll see the folly of their ways. Now I'm saying that in a kind of disguised way, but I think you get what I'm saying. There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Ignorance has been here as long as we have been here, because we came into incarnation basically ignorant, and we had to find our way back to ourselves. Well, I'm going to say we found our way back. We have spiritual principle, we have spiritual law. We know how to operate in this world if we practice. So what you're saying, Jessica, is practice, practice, practice the principles of love, of forgiveness, of kindness. That is the only way I see it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Absolutely. You talk for yourself, because we're all in this together. There's, when I mentioned polarities, we live in a dimension of polarities. There's only one life, one power, one presence, absolutely. But there's light and dark, there's black and white, there's a plug and a socket. So we have to choose. When I said to be or not to be implies a question. We get to choose. God created us as we are, and we can say, oh no, God, I don't agree, and have that experience. Who do we say we are? That is the big question. Not to be or not to be, but who do we say we are? God already said who we are. God already created us out of itself. Who do we say we are now? Do we say we are poo-poo, or do we say we are the living image and likeness of God, here taking a stand for ourselves, for the light, for intelligence, for love? If that is our stand, that is our stand, and that'll be evident. The rest of it will fall away. Just as in forgiveness, the energy of unforgiveness just falls away. Just as in the teachings of the Christ, we turn our back and say, get thee behind me. We're not even dealing with it anymore. We've turned into the light, and that is what we are accessing and what we are expressing. As long as we're dancing between raindrops, we'll always have to look for something. But when we stand in the light and declare the light, oh no, the darkness moves away because it has no power. Remember, there's only one power. It's used, it's siphoned off for egotistical meanderings. But oh no, there's still only one. We turn the other cheek. We look at it through a different perspective, which is love and light, and we walk forward as emissaries of light. I believe that's our charge, and I believe to be is that charge. So be it.
So be it. So be it. So be it. Love it. Thank you.
Yes, I would like the ushers to come forward now. Thank you very much for indulging me and for creating this living vortex of love and light and joy. Thank you. And now is our giving time. And we're applying the law of circulation with the full awareness that as we give, we're giving to ourselves. We're always giving, multiplying and giving to ourselves. Our higher self, of course.